Today, we're diving into a leadership masterclass, and we're pulling from some real heavyweights. Dave Ramsey, who brings that no-nonsense, get-it-done approach, John Maxwell, who is just a master of relational leadership, and Patrick Lencioni, the expert on what makes teams actually work. So, let's get right into their core ideas for becoming a truly effective leader. All right, let's kick things off with a question. Are your promotions actually punishments? This gets right to the heart of a huge, and I mean huge, mistake so many companies make. We call it the promotion trap. It's that classic, super costly error of taking your best performer and making them a manager, only to watch them flounder and eventually quit. You don't just lose a manager, you lose your best performer too. And here's why that happens. The skills that make someone a rock star performer are just completely different from the skills you need to lead a team. Being a great salesperson, writing amazing code, those are practitioner skills, but leading people, that's a whole different toolbox. It's about coaching, listening, helping people work through their problems. The big mistake is thinking that being good at the job means you'll be good at leading the people who do the job.
You know, Dave Ramsey tells this fantastic story about his very first employee, a guy named Russ Carroll, that just nails this point. Ramsey wanted to promote Russ, give him a bigger title, more money, the whole deal. But Russ knew himself. He knew that managing people, dealing with budgets, it would be, in his own amazing words, leukemia to his spirit. He was wise enough to say no. And you know what? He retired happily from that company doing the job he was great at and loved.
So, that leads us to this really important internal shift you have to make as a leader. We've all heard that advice a million times, right? Follow your passion. But here's the thing. These experts are telling us that advice isn't just incomplete, it can be seriously dangerous for your career. And John Maxwell, he just has the perfect way of explaining this with his golf analogy. He says, look, I'm passionate about golf, but I'm not any good at it. Passion alone doesn't pay the bills. If you try to build a career on something you're not actually good at, you might just end up hating the thing you used to love. So here's the bottom line. This is the distinction you've got to make. A hobby is where you have passion, but maybe not the talent. And that's great. But a truly fulfilling career, that happens right at the intersection. That sweet spot where what you love to do meets what you're actually genuinely good at. Okay, so you've got your head right. You know where your talents and passions line up. Now what? What does a leader actually do? Well, it really boils down to two fundamental actions that create what someone like Patrick Lencioni would call a healthy team. Well, according to John Maxwell, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, what culture you're in, every single person on your team is subconsciously asking you three questions. First, do you like me? That's about connection. Do you actually care about me as a person? Second, can you help me? That's about competence. Can you help me grow and get better? And then there's the last and deepest question. Can I trust you? And you can't fake this last one. You can't just nail the first two and hope trust just appears. Nope. Trust isn't where you start, it's the finish line. It's the absolute bedrock of a healthy team, and it's only earned slowly over time when your actions day in and day out prove that your words mean something. Okay, the second huge action a leader has to take. It's all about clear communication. And Dave Ramsey has a quote that just cuts right through the noise. To be unclear is to be unkind. He learned that dodging a tough conversation isn't being nice. It's actually being a coward. True kindness demands clarity, even when it's really, really hard. And this is the tightrope every leader has to walk. It's this delicate balance. You see, if you have grace but you leave out the truth, well, you're just enabling people. It's unhelpful. But if you have truth without any grace, you're just being cruel. It's harmful. Real leadership and real love lives in that tough middle ground. Truth plus grace. So look, let's be real. Every single leader is going to fail. You're going to mess up. It's inevitable. But what John Maxwell points out is so crucial. The failure itself isn't what sinks you. The excuses are. You can absolutely go from failure to success, but there is no path from excuses to success. So what's the difference between a good miss and a bad miss? Because it's not about how big you failed. It's all about what you do next. A good miss is when you own it. You take responsibility, you learn from it, and you make adjustments. A bad miss, that's when you make excuses, you blame other people, and you basically guarantee you're going to make the same mistake all over again. And you know, this whole idea of failing and getting back up, it's not just about learning a lesson. There's something much deeper going on here. Dave Ramsey often talks about this progression from the book of Romans.
The idea is that suffering, the pain of failure, it produces perseverance, and that perseverance forges character. And it's from that character that real, unshakable hope is born. So failure isn't just an accident, it's the very furnace that forges a leader's character. So, with all this pain and failure and tough conversations, what on earth keeps a leader going? What's the anchor that holds you steady through the storms? It's having your own personal, crystal clear definition of success. John Maxwell puts it so brilliantly. He says, if you don't personally know what success is to you, the world will tell you what it is. And that is so true. If you don't set your own finish line, you'll spend your whole life running in someone else's race, chasing a prize you might not even want, whether it's money or fame or power. And this is why it's so critical you define it for yourself. Maxwell actually shares his own personal anchor, and it's really powerful. His definition of success is simple, that the people who know him the best, the ones who see all his flaws, are the ones who love and respect him the most. Notice that has nothing to do with book sales or speaking fees. It's all about relationships. And that right there, that's the final question for all of us, the ultimate leadership gut check. Forget about the promotions, the titles, the applause for just a second. What is your internal definition of success? And when you look at the people who know you best, are you living up to it?